We're gonna talk about this restaurant life. So let's get into it tonight. It's a blessing as well as strife. So grab your fork and get your knife. Cause there's so much more to this restaurant life. Yeah, there's so much more to this restaurant life. So much more to this restaurant life. Let's go!
Right, it's just hard. It's hard prioritizing. Or you prioritize your shit, but it's hard keeping that balance.
Well, right, because you have to sacrifice. So, I mean, if you're gonna go, if you're gonna dedicate it to your family, business will lose something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like your presence, and something will be lost there. Or if you're gonna focus just on work, the family aspect is lost, and then on a personal level, you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, and then you judge yourself, and then you feel,
God, I'm just a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you this, though. I'll give you a compliment. I did a little just asking around on you, because this is the first time we've ever met.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they said is that he's a family man and he makes time for his family. Mm-hmm. So that was something that you are. So other people are aware that you are.
Yeah.
So,
well, life is a fleeting thing.
Amen.
You gotta do that.
Amen.
Yeah, partying days and all that. That's not my jam. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would like to go to festivals and have a good time.
Yeah.
Responsibilities.
That's it. And and being in this industry, I'm sure you have the same crazy stories. A lot of crazy stories.
Yeah.
We can get into that if you want to. But I always say, I got to do that. I got to experience that.
Yeah.
I got to be a fucking pirate at Travail
Mm-hmm.
and go out and just rage and like I don't particularly want to do that anymore. But I got to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that subculture of this industry of man, this is wild. This is a whole different thing.
It's a different ballgame.
Yeah, it reminded me of being in college, of being playing sports. I played football. It was like, you don't just get to do this. You got to be a part of this.
You live it.
Yeah. I want to go into a little bit about your background, because I'm a geek and I'm into this now, and I've only been doing this for a while. But I want to get into the French Laundry because that's awesome to me. That's like the holy grail, I got to eat at Bouchon. We went to Vegas like 3 months ago.
Okay.
And you got to eat at Bouchon. Yeah. And I was like a fanboy, dude. Mm-hmm. I'm taking pictures. Like,
it's legit.
I am critiquing. I'm taking notes. How they do the bread service. Whether everything to just the sauce. If it was perfectly broken. The soup was velvet. Like
finesse.
Oh my god. And that's Travail, my brother, and James. That's where they learn their stuff, and then that's how I was brought into cooking.
Was Travail.
Nice. So before that,
it's a good foray into what we do.
Exactly. And James, he would say the same thing. He's like, Matt, you have, when I was struggling and didn't know what was going on, he was like, Matt, you could go out and run your own restaurant right now. You've been doing this for 2 years. For the advanced, thrown in the deep end, fire trials, you could do that. I'm like, yeah, whatever, But anyway, so I want to know, like, you grew up here in Rochester.
Grew up here in Rochester, born and raised. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Moved away when I was 18. Moved to Duluth. Lived there for 5 years. Then I went down to Minneapolis for 3. Started cooking in Duluth.
Okay.
My first job was at Famous Dave's.
Nice.
Yeah. So I did that for like a year, and you talk about the foray into like the debaucherous nights. I mean, that was it.
Right.
18-year-old kid just learning, getting all the
out on your own
jobs. Like, all right, go clean the grease trap. You're like, all right, whatever. Can I get some beers afterwards?
Here's a PBR.
Did that, and I was like, yeah, this is kind of fun. I had an uncle. He was in restaurants his whole life. He passed away. Oh man, like 12, 13 years ago, something like that. But he was always in restaurants, and he actually worked for Famous Dave. So, when I applied, like the GM's like, hey, Uncle Mike? I'm like, yeah, that is my uncle. And
You were in.
I was in, yeah. I got the line cooking job. Did that for a year. Then I moved to, back at the time, in Duluth, like the fancy place was the new Olive Garden.
Oh, okay.
So
Right on.
we were still making the sauces and whatever, and that was busy. And you're like, holy smokes! But I was like, I kind of like this. I like the pace, and the structure, because I have ADD and I just need to be
Doing something
all the time.
Yeah, involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was really good. Then I went down to Minneapolis and enrolled in culinary school, because I was like, maybe make this work,
The Cordon Bleu?
Yeah, the Cordon Bleu.
Okay.
Where I met Danica, who's now wife and co-owner of Early Bird, and got a job at St. Paul Grill. So that was like that was like the night.
Yeah.
Had to do a stage. You got to do a 3-course. You got to do a 3-course.
Is this like early 2000s, late 90s?
2000. No, this would have been like 2009.
Nice. Okay.
2009, something like that. Super nervous little kid, just like, all right, I got to make 3 courses for chef, and
Yes.
I'm thinking back, and they're probably like, no one gives a shit. You're gonna be a gourmet, like you're gonna be making salads and stuff. But I did that, got the job, and I was like, wow, this is something special. And you see celebrities coming in, and you're cooking for these people, and you're like, this is it.
Turned you on.
Turned me on.
Yep.
And at that time, like Danica and I, we started going. While we were in culinary school, like if we had a weekend, we'd go over to Chicago and go eat at like Blackbird or something like that.
Oh, right on.
Place,
I've eaten there. That's awesome.
It's the best. I think it's closed now.
Is it? Didn't make it?
But I mean, he's got so many great restaurants. And then you start seeing what our industry can be, and you're like, oh, okay, that's what I want.
Yep.
And we were going to we actually staged in Chicago, and we're like, okay, do we want to do this? And Danica was like, I think let's try someplace a little bit farther. She wanted to go a little bit farther from Minnesota. She wanted to kind of, she grew up in Staples Motley up in north central Minnesota, and she's like, I just want to go somewhere else. I was like, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. She's like, what do you think about Denver? I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. We went out there for a staged at a place called 1515, and like kind of molecular gastronomy and things like that. Something I'd never seen. It was like, what, foams and pearls? I'm like, what is going on? This is why I have to know how to do this. Got the internship there. We moved out there. We packed up a U-Haul, moved out. We were getting paid nothing, but learning.
Yes.
She got a job at a really nice. So she's a cook as well by trade. So she was working at a place called Mizuna, really nice, still there, Frank Bonanno concept in Denver, just great place. And so after my 6-month internship was over, got offered a position there, line cooking there for a little bit. Got another offer from this place called Red Square Euro Bistro, like a Russian themed, kind of cool. Making pierogies, all that stuff. Stuffed cabbage, latkes every day. I was like, God damn it, lemon curd. Like lemon curd tarts, and there was also flavored vodka bar. So
man, they used to have one of those in Robbinsdale. Vodka bars.
It was nuts. Just print money, and so like the food was almost secondary. So,
right.
I enjoyed my time there, but I was like, I kind of want something more, because it's cool to see all these people coming in and getting crafts of vodka, but
it's about the food.
I need something more. So then I actually went back to 1515 as a sous chef. I got offered the position as a sous chef. Went there, and then 6 or 8 months after that, there's this French fine dining place called Kuhil's that my executive chef was going to be going over. He's like, hey, they're bringing me in for a tasting menu. Why don't you come in and eat with me? I'm like, okay. go in and eat with them, and I was like really impressed. Right across the street from the Pepsi Center.
Oh, right.
So it can be just bonkers, crazy,
Yeah.
beautiful space, and the food was like refined French technique, really driven food. And I was like, okay, I like this. Applied for the job, got that. Worked there for like 2.5 years. Worked up to CDC, like chef de cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, this is great, and grind in and out, every night. Really fun, learn a lot, and then I was like I'm a voracious reader. I like to read a lot of cookbooks, and TK has always been my favorite French Laundry cookbook. And I was like, okay, what can we do? What can we spin off of this? And, one day I said, fuck it, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
I applied online at the laundry, and I got a call like 2 hours later, and like, hey. We'd like you to come out for a stage. Can you come out in whatever, it's like 3 weeks? I was just like, yeah, I can do that. Figure out how to get out there. Danica and I missed our flight on the way out there, and it's just the worst. But it was cool because we were setting up Kuhil's, the owner, Tom Kuhil. He was really supportive, and he hooked us up at all these wineries that they're the vineyards that we used at Kuhil's that we sold their wine.
Oh,
we got
cool.
to stay at the winery, so we got to stay for free.
Nice connection.
Good connection.
Right.
So we go out there, and there's a 2-day stage. I was just, you're shitting your pants. You're just like, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Compared to these guys.
No.
Went in there for it was like 2 16-hour days, and you're just
terrifying.
And the end of it, I mean, you're seeing really highly skilled, top of our profession kind of guys, and you're just working with them. You're just trying to
Absorb,
right?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the second shift, the chef brought me into the little chef's office. This is in the old French Laundry before the construction started.
Yep.
And he's like, just talking to me. It's at the end of the night. We're kind of cleaning up. Last order was already in, and he asked me to write like 3 pages, or write as many pages as you can about consommé. Just talk to me about consommé. I'm just like,
this is your test.
but I could do it. But I was like, all right, cool. It was like it was just food, and like no kids, no nothing. It was just
that was your life.
Food. So yeah, I spit off like 3.5 pages on consommé and just French technique, and he read it, and he's like, okay, cool. We'll offer you a job. And I I flew back to Denver and planned our move out to California. How long was it? It was probably, there was some time. I think it was like 3 months between like the stage and moving out there. And then we found a ridiculously expensive apartment in Napa. It was like 600 square feet for like almost $1,900. Like, oh my god.
We think that's fair.
Right. And that was at the time, a little bit before that actually. So like Danica and I at Kuhil's, we were working the lines together. So like I would be on wheel and she was on saute, and we figured out pretty quickly that wasn't going to work like long term.
Yeah.
She was just like, you're kind of an asshole.
I want to stay together with you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So she actually moved to the front of the house, which I like, because I was like, oh, you're making good money.
Yeah. And you have somebody you can trust up there.
Mm-hmm. Right. And understood food and could articulate it.
Oh, that's
just,
huge.
Like, really, yeah. Very much so. So we moved out there, and she got a job serving. She started at Batarga, but then she moved to Auberge de Soleil, which is like it's like the 5 Diamond 1 Michelin star restaurant, like really nice, legit. And she was serving, so she was making good money.
Awesome. For that higher rent,
I started as a commis at the laundry because I think everyone outside of one of the sous chefs that was there, you start as a commis and you work your way up.
Sure.
So you're not getting paid a lot.
Yeah.
And they're long hours and expectations are high, and
you're getting paid in experience.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, exactly right. And we lived in California, so I was out the door by, you got to be at the shop. Depends, like if you're closing at the laundry, you get there at about 10 or between 10 and 11. I don't remember exactly what time, but then you're there till about 2. 2
Wow.
a.m., 1:30, depending on what needs to get done.
Sure.
If you're
16, 17 hour days.
yeah, and if you're working lunch or prep like Comey's, or you do the majority of the prep work for the CDPs and the SUs and stuff. You get there at 6, and you might get done at 8 or 9 or 10. It's just how fast can you do the prep correctly,
Right.
not how fast can you do it.
Oh my God, man.
And there are so many days
Let
where
me see your brunoise.
well, like trimming frisee.
Yeah.
You're trimming frisee, and you spend 20 minutes on it. Like, what's taking you so long? Also, it looks like shit.
Oh no.
Like, oh God. So it was that. So I mean, there's a piece of it where it's just like, hey, you just get this anxiety, and you're just like, I want to focus on the food, and a lot of pressure and whatnot. But
that's a thing though, like that you're voluntarily putting yourself through that so that you can level up, so that you can handle it, and they're coming at you that way because they want you to be able to do it, right? Yeah. And you're right, that's stress and anxiety. That's fuck.
You got to be able to do it, or you got.
Why can't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And it was an experience, right? And like you're seeing there's a lot of turnover at the laundry. There's a lot of turnover. You're seeing, but there's also a lot of stages. Like you're going to have 3 to 5 stages a week.
Wow.
Right? And you might have 2 to 3 Comey's in and out. They have a full-time person that works on like, okay, let's get people in,
just rotating them.
That a lot of CIA grads. So I mean, when I got in, I was actually probably one of the older. I would have been like 26 or 27 at the time. I was one of the more, I had more experience in a kitchen, or like leading a crew, and that's what they said. They're like, we appreciate that. We want, did I have the refinement of the laundry? No, but that's a learned skill.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, every day, your days off, you're just immersed in this Northern California just environment where you're taking a 30-minute drive to San Francisco and you're eating at
that's your whole life.
The best places.
That's all you're
do. Going to the wineries, and I mean,
you're immersed.
So fun.
Yeah.
Super fun. And then one day is usually just like for rest, because work week's there, you're just like, shit, I got my ass kicked.
That's what it was at Travail too. Like Sunday, literally, we would just rest, sleep, watch football, and then Monday we got 2 days off. But then Monday you would, pay your bills, clean your house. Do the stuff that you needed to do. Yeah.
And the laundry was good about that too. You always got 2 days off in a row. You always got 2 days off in a row, because I mean, it's important, man. Like,
you'll burn out.
You'll burn out real quick.
Yeah, you won't make it.
Yeah. And so
like going to camp in some sense. Like that's what I felt. It was like I was going away to like this like voluntarily work camp that I'm gonna come out of it hopefully and make it. I almost quit.
Better, yeah.
And this is my brother's restaurant. I almost quit 4 or 5 times just because
can't do it. You're like, this is. I'm gonna break. I did break, and it's like I don't know what to do. I don't know who I am. Like my ego is just shattered. And I think at that level of cooking, like that's almost the point for a lot of people. It's like, can you handle it? Can you what does that do to you? Yeah. How do you respond to it? Right. Which I can appreciate, but I mean, I think everyone goes into this industry for different reasons. Mine is for the love of like food, right? And hospitality, and like think what sharing a meal with someone does, and there's magic in that, and creativity, and there's magic in that. It's what they're creating, this is what I do. Like that's what I want to show you. Yeah. This is the experience I want to give you. But so yeah, I learned a ton. I mean, we could talk for hours over beers about some of the stories at the laundry, but we got to a point where it's like, okay, how old was I? Like we're in our late 20s, and we're like, do we want to do a family, or do we want to go all in long term at this level of restaurants? And we decided we want to move back and like start a family. And I had a recruiter. I just reached out and said, hey, I'm just looking for options, and there's offers in the cities and down here in Rochester. So I was flying back and forth, kind of doing interviews, and I decided on Nova Restaurant Group down here because close to family. So my mom and dad still live here. My brother and his family still live here. It's the cost of living is lower than Minneapolis, and we had dreams and aspirations to open our own restaurant. So Rochester is just an easier market to do that for a lot of reasons. Because we kind of felt like, all right, so if we go into Minneapolis, that's another 5 years of building it back up, because you did that in Denver. Like, you build it up and you become somewhat known in the circle. Like, okay, I know what they can do. And then you go to California. And then, go back to Minneapolis. Minneapolis is a fantastic food scene. Lot of heavy hitters up there. And Rochester, it's home.
Yeah, you're coming home.
And so, we moved back, and it was...
That was a wise choice.
It worked out.
Yeah.
And we went to... Terza actually had just opened. So I initially got hired on as the executive sous chef there, and... I think I spent like a month and a half, 2 months there, and was talking with the owners of Nova, and the opportunity came up for Pescara, and they're like, well, would you take over Pescara? And I said, yeah, I would. Worked there for 2.5 years, and we started working on this. I actually got a call from my friend Bree, who owns Queen City Coffee and Juice right now, and she's with us at Relish. But she's like, hey, are you interested? I've never been shy about it. I'd really like to do a restaurant. I want to do something different.
Yeah, I got aspirations, man.
And so she said, hey, we might have something in the works. You want to meet? And we started meeting with the owners and having beers at the Half Barrel and just talking like, hey, what could the castle be?
There's a castle downtown.
Exactly. I was like, all right, I'm interested.
Yeah.
And
which, dude, this place
is amazing.
I mean, it's awesome. It's a castle, first of all. You look from the outside.
Yeah.
That's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And inside, it's just like, dude,
nothing like it.
There isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I was blown away.
Yeah.
We came first time to eat, and I was like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous in here.
So yeah,
kudos.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a big team. A lot of people worked on it, and it took probably 14 months, 16 months, something like that, to really get it going. So we knew like the timeline, and we were expecting Charlotte. And so I stepped down from Pescara, because Pescara was 12-hour days.
Right.
Sometimes you're working 14-day stretches, 21-day stretches, and I was like, well, if we're going to work on the castle, ideation, I should figure out something else. So I actually jumped over to Morrison Healthcare, which does the food contract management for Mayo Clinic. So I was the catering chef for all of downtown. So daily caterings, doing the caterings for Mayo 11, the executive level, board of directors, that kind of stuff.
It's a good in between gig.
Yeah, it was great.
In the day,
Monday through Friday.
Right.
Most of the time, we would have events at night, but most of the time, you're working 6 or 7 to in between 3 and 6, depending on what's going on.
Totally doable.
In our industry, this is amazing.
That's nothing.
Yeah, and gave us the time to work on getting this up and running, and then took that for a year. That was 2000. That would have been 2017.
17. Yeah.
2017, and then did that for a year, and it was phenomenal, great. I really enjoyed working at Morrison. It was great. You make a lot of really good connections. And then November 2018, we opened up Cameo.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, you guys had just opened up, and we came in, and it was just a cool scene. It was like walking into a place in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
It was that vibe. It was like going to Birch Steakhouse or going into Bar La Grassa. Same vibe, cocktails. Your food's bomb.
Thank you.
Your food is delicious, and the presentation, I'm like, yep, there it is. I'm expecting that because I knew your pedigree and where it came from. I'm like, well, that's it, man. That eyeball test, taste test, ambiance. Like, this is a high quality restaurant. This is something that I recommend I recommend this place. Where do you guys go eat? Like, dude, you go here.
Yeah.
You know, go to the Duck.
Appreciate that. Yep.
Come to Cameo.
That's where we go eat at
if
the
you're just
Duck.
hanging out, you want a burger, go to Forager.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
these are our people. You know, these are the people that give a shit about food, that know what they're doing, that put their quality, time in to actually put out a product and provide you with a place where you can go in and enjoy.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And have that magical experience like we're talking about.
Yep.
Because that's why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really cool, man. And like I said, this podcast is restaurant life.
Yeah.
Like I just want to like hear you talk about your journey, right? That's
it,
that's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
That's what I'm into.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great thing. Let's talk a little bit about Cafe Relish.
Mm-hmm.
Your new jam going on. That just happened.
So we celebrated a year in February.
Okay.
So yeah, COVID hit.
Did it ever?
It did it ever. And one of our vendors was working with Matt Remick at the Rack.
Okay.
And he was like, hey, think about making some changes, doing some renovations, and the vendor whom I know, and you might know Tim Bolt. I don't know if you know Tim Bolt.
I don't think I've been.
He introduced us and said, hey, you guys should talk and see if it'd be a good fit, and met with Matt during the pandemic, and he was like, whatever. One thing led to another, and I think this would be a good fit.
Uh-huh.
And so, construction started in October, November of 2020, and then we opened late February of 21.
Okay.
We focus on salads, sandwiches, soups, wraps, a lot of to-go food.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of health conscious food.
What's in
and then
that?
also you have a lot of kids, so they want fried
Chicken fingers and
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, smoothies, things like that. So I mean, it's completely different than Cameo is kind of our flagship, like fine dining and Albatross, right? Because there's a lot of overhead at a fine dining restaurant.
Yeah, buddy.
Support staff and whatnot. Relish is kind of our fast casual concept.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been going really well. I really like working with the Rack. They're phenomenal partners. They're
Well, they got a great facility. Yeah, they got a great facility there.
Yeah, I didn't know how expansive. I mean, it's like one of the largest health clubs in the nation by square footage. And,
oh wow!
I mean, it's run so extremely well.
Yep.
Like really, really well, and they're really good people. So we're really fortunate to be in there. And we actually launched Ziggy's, which is a ghost kitchen concept, out of Relish.
Okay.
Because the one thing about Relish is it's nice that we have a built-in target, or you have a built-in market with all the people that are going to the club.
Sure.
But getting the education piece of getting people from the outside to come in and
just eat.
Yep.
And
and we knew that going into it, like that's going to be the
something to try to tap into.
Mm-hmm. And so we it was actually right when we had a flood here. RP was working on a water main in January. So we had closed down the week before to install a new cooler. And then that got delayed with parts, whatever. We opened up a day later. That first day of service, I'm over at Relish getting Ziggy's off the ground. And I get a call from Danica. She said, there's a literal river running through our restaurant. And I go, fucking what? And so I said, hey guys, I gotta go. Ran down here and there was water just all the way up into almost this room. This room wasn't touched. So we had to rip up carpets. It was like $50,000 in insurance. And then
a water main broke?
They were working on a water main.
Okay.
And then it moved to a steam pipe. I don't know exactly what, but it was coming through our electrical room, and then it was a mess. So we got Service Master in here. They were fantastic. They got it cleaned up nice and quick, and we're still fighting with insurance to. There's like $12,000 that they're like, I'm just like, come on.
We pay our premiums.
Come on. So yeah, working through that. But so that day is when we had launched Ziggy's. So like hand dip chicken tenders and like smash burgers, right? Just something
right on.
completely different than what Relish is offering, but you can still use the same kitchen.
Yeah.
Because Relish, your busy times are kind of 11:30 to 2:30, and so there's you're getting coffees and pastries in the morning, and then the afternoon it's kind of like some smoothies and stuff for people working out, and then 5 to 8, you have that again. So I was like, well, let's capitalize on some more revenue. So we're doing the DoorDash, the third party deliveries, begrudgingly. I mean, I hate third party deliveries.
Yeah,
because you're giving somebody else your food.
Right.
Somebody could take 45 minutes to deliver it. Then you have somebody who's all pissed off, like food's all over the place. I'm like, it's cold. Like, yes, it was hot when we put it up.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a learning.
That's a
piece.
risk.
It is, but the point of Ziggy's, like, we'd like to have Ziggy's be an actual brick and mortar with a drive-through with the right equipment in there. So we're kind of using it as like an R&D kitchen.
Cool.
Right? Figuring out what works, what doesn't work, the delivery aspect of it. like what's the right container, what's the right fry, what's the right.
There's so much to that.
Really
There's
is.
so much to that.
It really is.
To nail in it. That was something that I had to learn as well when the pandemic hit. We're like, do these family meals and just, you're right.
It's not as easy as
containers just to put your shit in.
and they're super expensive now because everyone's using them.
Right.
But yeah, you don't, and that was what we struggled with that at Cameo, because Cameo, it doesn't translate well to carry out food. So like we closed in March 17th, March 16th, and we didn't open back up until June. But when the PPP came in, we're like, all right, let's get everyone back to work, and let's kind of.
So you guys were closed for like 2.5 months.
2 months, yeah.
2 months. Yeah. We're closed for a month.
Yeah.
Same thing.
But I mean, and then so we kind of pivoted, and we were changing the menu a lot, trying to figure out, okay, how do we deliver a good experience at a fair price point to go? And that was hard. And then construction. I mean, it's the last 2 years have been brutal on everyone. Like we're not alone in that. But it definitely makes you rethink
how you're doing
how you do things,
your operations,
why you do things. Right?
Yes, trim the fat. It's
easier when there's no restrictions, when everyone's still going out, and you're just like, oh great, we had a phenomenal weekend, I covered payroll, and now you're like, ooh, what are we doing here?
Yeah. So another week like this, and we gotta make some decisions. Correct.
Yeah. It makes you rethink it. Like, okay,
it expedites the process.
What are we doing?
Incredibly.
So, yeah, it's been a trip.
It's been a trip. We're still here though. That's what we're talking about.
We're still here.
Like, how's the restaurant going? We're still here.
We're here. Lights are on. People come in and eat.
People
are, exactly right.
And we're doing our thing. That's what the discussion that I had with my brother, because during the whole pandemic, we talked every day. Like, what are you doing? What do you got going? Which is great to have a sounding board and just somebody to talk to. But his thing was like, it expedited all these processes much quicker of trimming the fat.
Forces you to.
Yeah, or else you're not going to make it, man. You have to adapt. You can't do things the same way that you were doing it.
It's just it's a different world. Yeah. Like, the expectations from the guest and from the consumer haven't really changed.
No, I know.
Prices have changed in terms of our cost of goods, labor, all those things have changed. And, sometimes we'll get people that are just like, it wasn't the same experience as it was last time. It was, when were you in last? It was like November 2019. I was like,
yeah, that was old world
times. I agree
times.
that, we're not the same. It's, you can't get the same product. And if you can get the same product, it's
twice as much.
It's more expensive, and then you're paying someone.
We might not have chicken on our menu this summer. That's a real discussion.
Yeah. Yes. Chicken is ridiculous.
That's a real discussion.
It's ridiculous.
Like, dude, this possibly won't be available this summer. And who would have thought?
Yeah.
So that's the world we're living in, right?
Well, it's every day. You're getting a call from a vendor. You're short of this, and you got to make the on-the-fly decisions, and they're not always like your first choice. And you're just like, shit.
And then your quality, like, because that's what it is. I mean, I want my standards here.
Yeah.
I want them to have this quality. I want them to expect this from my business, from my product.
Yep.
And yeah, it's fucking hard.
It's frustrating.
It's frustrating.
It's really frustrating.
And I part of the reason I wanted to do this podcast is just to get that out there to people and talk to other restaurant people about, all right, man. And it's not a bitch session. It's not like we're whining, because we're still doing what we're doing, and we still love what we're doing. But there's just, the game's different now.
The game has changed for sure, and it's nice to have somebody that understands it, and you can also be like, hey, well, how do you deal with this?
Yeah.
You know, because no one person has all the answers.
Absolutely.
It's easier by committee to be like, what's working for you guys?
Right.
This is what's not working for us. So.
It's awesome, man. Well, like I said, and like I said, this is the first time we've met, and I've never got a chance to thank you personally, just face to face, look in the eye, and say thank you for, the dinner and the thing you guys put on for my daughter, for Gabby. It meant the world to us, and being in this industry, and it's a noble industry. We help each other out, and we care, and we're people that are in it for the right reasons. It shows. It shows through your food. It shows through employees that I've talked to that work for you. It shows that you're taking care of your family, trying to make that balance and stuff. It's like it could be me, and what you guys did was Chad, our buddy Chad Crandall, reached out to you. Yeah. Shout out to Chad, love you, buddy, and. Just from the heart, thank you for doing that, and it meant the world to us. So
absolutely,
and thanks for coming on, and hanging out, and sharing your story. And I look forward to having you back on, and and coming to eat and hanging out,
man, absolutely,
and doing more of these. So
cool.
All right, brother, take care. Thanks, guys.
So much more to this restaurant life. So much more to this restaurant life. Let's go.